Are you a living tree that keeps evolving, adapting, readapting to survive, to coordinate, to relate? Or are you just about to be static? Stay with me on this particular episode, and let's dive into what it would mean if you are a living tree, and meaning that you have the right hack in terms of our daily life struggles. Yes, my good people, serve your time. Richard here, and we are back to this amazing episode. Today we're going to talk about the Living Tree Doctrine, and actually this particular doctrine is inspired by a lesson that I think that I learned through my time in law school. I think it was in the second year or thereabout. So basically, Living Tree is a principle in what you call constitutional law. I think it emanates from a Canadian jurisprudence, meaning that it was a lot applied in Canada in the 1920s. But I think it became, the thing with the law is there's something called precedence, right? So we tend to follow and at least draw a lesson, be guided, not blindly, but for purposes of picking a lesson and running away with applying those lessons from, again, the history. I think keeps going back to the present, so that we can, the courts and the lawyers are able to, ensure that if it's a decision to be made in a particular court case, then the right decision is made within the parameters of justice. So this particular doctrine was one that was applied, like I said, extensively in Canada and Kenya, where I practice, generally in East Africa. We apply what we call the common law system of legal practice, which is inspired by the British system of law. Now, basically, what happens is that in this particular application of this principle, the Constitution, which when it comes to matters law and legal practice, is the main document. Really, is the guiding factor. It sort of dictates. Every other law is made in conformity with the Constitution. So the Constitution is presumed to be one that guides, down the trench of legislation. Now, when the persons who came up with the Living Tree Doctrine were using that, they actually, the idea was that if you think of a grand, law, which is now the Constitution, this particular law should be one that is flexible enough to speak into the times of the day, right? But also mindful of what happened before then, that's the history. But being able to lead people into the future, because law and legal practice is all about, at the end of the day, law is all about ensuring that we all live in harmony. We live. You don't cross the other person's path. Everyone, we coexist within an organized and structured manner. So the Living Tree Doctrine came into play, and it presumed that, or it's still applicable, really, that the Constitution, and in this particular case, the law as we know it, is not static. It speaks, and it has to continuously evolve and adjust, right, within the times of the day, but also being able to grow its roots, to grow its branches into relevancy. So which made me think as I was reflecting on this principle that I said so many years ago, which still apply, to date. Made me think, like, okay, wait a minute. So, in the life as we know it, in our daily life struggles, if we were able to be always mindful enough of the principles in our daily, journey as we navigate life, and we see ourselves as a living tree that is able to grow its roots, to apply its branches, right, within the times of the day. And I think sometimes this could apply to even situations, right? Meaning that if you find yourself in a situation where you're challenged, maybe there's something that you're experiencing for the first time, you've never experienced this situation, you don't know how to navigate it. So often than not, maybe normally the first thing would be to draw lessons from those that have experienced it, and if let's say there are none, then now you have to go into looking at the moment, the situation as it's presenting itself to you, and ask yourself, okay, how can I adjust, right? How can I adjust myself in the sense that I'm able to live within this particular situation? I'm trying to think of an example, really, but let's say, what could it be? Just think of any new experience that maybe a new situation that has faced you, right? Maybe I can't say like learning a new skill, that's different, but maybe let's take an example. You find yourself, you want to trek let's say in a public forest, right, where you have to follow patterns or signposts or guidelines, or you're hiking a mountain, and then you find yourself lost, right? And maybe even alone on your own. Maybe you were in a group, and then they have either disappeared, or you took the wrong turn, or you were left behind, or maybe you stepped to take a short call, but by the time you come back to catch up, they're gone. Now you're in this wilderness, right? Obviously, you know that somehow you will regroup, probably. But I think being a living tree, in this sense, would mean that first of all, you accept, right, that I am in this situation. This is my situation now. There's nothing else going on in my life at this particular moment. All I need to do is get myself out of this situation. That is, you're already adapting. You're now opening up your roots and your branches to the situation, and then now you look at what is around you. What can you utilize around you? Whether it's is there any pathway? If there's none, is there a hill? Is there a tree you can climb? Maybe if you climb, it could be maybe as high as it can get, make some noise. Or what do you have on you that you can utilize? Do you have a life jacket? Do you probably have matches that you can maybe light something that can get smoke, so that someone can see smoke, or so it is. I think the Living Tree Doctrine, in terms of application to life, beyond the law as it were, I think it can be a good guide for one to be flexible, enough that when situations present themselves to, and I mean, there could be many. There could be many. There's no manual for such things, right? There could be so many, so different, so strange. Maybe no one has never ever tackled them. Maybe it's the first one for you, just like for anyone else. But I think the biggest question will always be, what are you doing about it? Like, how have you adapted yourself to the situation, right? Actually, I think the main thing when it comes down to the Living Tree Doctrine, if you ask me, is your ability to adapt. Really, I think that's when it comes to life as we know it, and surviving and succeeding. If you want to, I think, navigate, life in terms of the situations that come and present themselves to you, I think learning from the Living Tree Doctrine, if you see yourself as a living tree, right? Doctrine in this particular case, and you must and you should always be adaptive. I think if you're adaptive, it's almost impossible not to tackle a situation. The same thing goes for, when people say be like water, be like a chameleon, not necessarily to change colors to disguise, but for example, I think the best example is a chameleon when it comes to the Living Tree Doctrine, in terms of law, being able to be relevant, right? The times of the day. In the same spirit, if you see yourself as a chameleon, right? The reason why chameleons change colors to suit the colors of a tree or a forest or wherever it is, we all know this is a survival mechanism, right? For them, so that now their enemies would not easily trace them. But that's basically adapting, and I think that's what it is that the living tree speaks into. So being able to be adaptive to a situation, obviously, I think that the adaptability in this case is all dependent on the situation, on different situation, right? As it presents itself. But I think for me, in this case, adaptability, in this case, you as a living tree, in that particular case would be, number one, accepting, and not accepting to give up, but accepting to, as a way of acknowledging what you're dealing with right there, right? Accepting as a way of saying, this is me now. This is my reality. This is my present. Sometimes we always think about, we're always obsessed maybe with the future, with what we're planning to do. But like right now, right here, if anything, this is my moment. This is my life. I'm talking to you. I'm having a conversation with to this audience. So I cannot be anywhere else. Whatever it is that I dream or plan, or my next move to after this, that's my next moment. So I have to accept, and that means I have to adapt to my reality. And once I accept, once I adapt,
Then now, without necessarily conforming, I now open up to, okay, how do I deal with my reality? What is required of me in this present reality, right? And then from there, things will flow like water. So I think the big takeaway for me, as I was reminiscing on this very old maxim, very old doctrine, the Living Tree Doctrine, I think we should all aim to be adaptive, okay? And where need be, once you adapt, like I said, you're not necessarily conforming. Then you look into, okay, what is it that I'm required, right, to either navigate successfully or otherwise a situation X, situation B. Okay, what is expected of me, right, in this particular situation? What it is that I need to do to make the most out of it, right? How do I navigate to survive, but almost immediately thrive? So, but let me know in the comment, like, really, if you would want me to share a link on this Living Tree Doctrine. Maybe you read for yourself and see what you make out of it in terms of applying life lessons. So I still truly believe that in any situation, and by the way, the funny part is that situations will be always different. Even myself, I keep coming back to these videos to remind myself, about some of these things, some of these life hacks that I'm telling you, because some of these things are informed by experiences. But again, if you're a doctor, you would have, terms terminologies in your world, or if you're an engineer, or if you're a business person, if you're a developer, if you are, a construction person, if you are a hotelier, whichever it is that you do, there will always be terminologies or things that guide your journey to practice or to do your job. Now the thing is, for me, when I look at most of the things that I've experienced, whether in school or whether it's in my legal practice, I always ask myself, how does this apply to life? But I think if you adopt to being a Living Tree Doctrine mindset, that purely means being adaptive or adaptable. That will help you accept. That will help you be a chameleon and, navigate situations. Because adapting to a situation doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be weak, or you'll be giving away power, or sometimes you have to cede to win. So you have to adopt before you can redefine. But if you don't adopt, if you don't accept, you'll be like, a rock will be resisting, and water will crush you. So I think it's very important, really, that in life, we look at being that chameleon, that living tree that adapts, which allows us to navigate positively, to pause and remind ourselves what we learned from the past, about into the present, going forward into the future. And I think that it cannot be a sign of strength. I mean, if you've been in situations where, you know, you have to listen to something or someone you don't believe in, okay, or do undertake a task that you don't enjoy doing, that is purely you adapting, knowing very well that this is the situation that I'm in. This is the present. This is what is prevailing. However, you're guided by your goals. So contextually, I think it allows you to achieve more, to be better, to challenge yourself, and to remind yourself. So let me know if you pick a thing or two. Let me know what's your favorite part of this conversation. Let me know why you think, maybe if there's something you think you should talk more about from this conversation. I'll be more than happy to, you know, look into the comments, and I'll ensure that me and myself and my team will come back and, you know, be able to do something about the feedback. I hope that you're keeping well, keeping safe. As always, greetings from Nairobi, and welcome to Serve Your Time. It's your boy, it's your friend right here, Richard. I can only say, God bless you. Mungu abariki. Mungu abariki Africa. God bless Africa. Kwaheri. Richard out.